My roommate Stacy Miller suddenly collapsed and was rushed to the hospital, where she needed emergency surgery immediately. The hospital couldn't reach her family, so I took out predatory payday loans and borrowed from coworkers to cover her $138,000 surgery bill up front. She pulled through the operation, and afterward she thanked me over and over, promising she'd pay every cent back. But the second she was discharged, she took to the internet, sobbing as she twisted the story to make me the villain. My roommate went behind my back and took out all that money. Even the doctors said a perforated appendix isn't always a death sentence. She insisted on rushing me into surgery just so I'd owe her for the rest of my life. I'm poor, how am I supposed to pay back all that debt she took on? She's practically driving me to kill myself. My company ordered me not to pressure Stacy into repaying me. My coworkers blamed me for overstepping and demanded I refund the money they'd lent me. And Stacy? She refused to pay back a single dollar. You chose to pay for my surgery. I never made you do it, she said. Everyone says you can't morally blackmail me over this. Why should I pay you back? Your debt is your problem. It has nothing to do with me. In the end, I was beaten to death by debt collectors. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in our rental apartment on the exact day Stacy was taken to the hospital. The hospital was calling, asking for payment. This time, I said no. Sorry. I'm not Stacy's parent. I have no obligation to pay for her care. Hello, this is Westbrook Memorial Hospital. We can't reach any of the patient's other emergency contacts. You're the only person we've been able to get a hold of. Her condition is critical, and she needs surgery right away. We require a minimum $10,000 deposit. Can you come down to the hospital to cover it for her? I listened to the urgent voice of the nurse on the line and said nothing. I glanced around the rental apartment. This was the place I'd shared with Stacy during our senior year internship. Rent was $1,200 a month, split $600 each. I'd paid 3 months' worth already. That was the full extent of my relationship with Stacy Miller, 3 months as roommates. In my last life, I'd fronted $138,000 for her surgery. I'd been so worried about adding to her stress that I'd never even asked her to sign an IOU. Then a video went viral online. The title read, "Day 1 of being crushed by debt after my roommate saved me from fainting." Stacy was the one who posted it. Guys, you know what it's called when someone does a good deed that ruins your life? That's my roommate, she'd said, sitting up in her hospital bed, pale and weak-voiced. I get I was sick, but the second the doctor mentioned surgery, she just paid for everything and signed off on it. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars here. She didn't even ask me what I wanted. 1 minute she's taking out loans left and right. I looked it up, perforated appendicitis can totally be managed with conservative care, right? Watch your diet, take it easy, lots of people don't even need surgery. Now I've got this ugly scar on my stomach and I'm drowning in debt. I'm so broken I just want to die. The video hit 300,000 views overnight. The comment section blew up. A handful of people called Stacy an ungrateful backstabber, but most of them sympathized with her. They said they got where she was coming from. Then Stacy posted a second video. My roommate never told me half that money was borrowed from coworkers, and the rest was from predatory payday lenders. You have no idea how stressed I am. Those loans are brutal. If the interest keeps piling up, I'll be paying them off for the rest of my life. I'm just a new grad, I'll never get out from under it. I know people are calling me ungrateful, but I'm just a scared, sensitive girl from a small town. My parents worked their whole lives, barely scraping by, to put me through school. They never could have seen this coming. Tell me, what am I supposed to do? I'm an intern making less than $4,500 a month. How am I supposed to pay this back? This is gonna kill me. If I'd known getting sick would put me in this much debt, I'd rather have just died. It's better than starting my adult life buried under all this. Why does this have to happen to me? The comment section fully turned. Thousands of working people related to Stacy's struggle. They flooded the comments calling me an overzealous do-gooder, a two-faced phony. Some even tried to dox me, dig up where I worked, make sure everyone at my company knew what kind of person I was. They blamed me for trapping Stacy in debt. No one stopped to think that I was the one being cyberbullied. When I went to confront Stacy, her parents blocked the door and yelled at me for sticking my nose where it didn't belong. I demanded my money back, they refused and hit me. Then they filmed me mid-argument, angry and desperate, and sent the clip to our coworker group chat, to the university student group chat. My reputation was destroyed. In the end, I died at the hands of debt collectors. When I came to, I was back in the rental apartment. The nurse on the line was still pressing me. Hello? Are you still there? In my last life, that phone call had pushed me to pay the bill, take on the debt, and walk down a path I could never come back from. This time, I glanced around the apartment and said flatly, "Sorry. I'm not her family. Her medical bills aren't my responsibility." I hung up and shut off my phone before I could hear her calling back. Finally, some peace and quiet. There was a loud, frantic banging on the apartment door. I checked the security camera. It was Tracy Miller, the girl who lived next door. She was from the same small town as Stacy, and just as two-faced. In my last life, she'd been right there beside me, begging me to raise money for Stacy. Then the second things went south, she'd been the first to distance herself. She'd never chipped in a single dollar, but when everything fell apart, she'd been the loudest. Claire Bennett. Don't you dare try to weasel out of this. If you had enough money to pay for Stacy's surgery, why are you making her pay you back? You were so generous playing hero, why are you torturing her now? You're a monster, profiting off someone else's suffering. She'd twisted everything, made herself sound so righteous. But when push came to shove, she'd bailed the second things got hard. People like her were the worst, relentless, impossible to reason with. If I didn't answer the door, she'd kick up a fuss until the whole floor knew about it. Fine, I thought. If they're gonna hound me, I might as well open the door. Tracy stumbled forward, nearly falling on her face when the door swung open. Then she turned around and blamed me. Ugh, what is wrong with you? You could have said something before opening the door. She picked herself up, grabbed my wrist, and tried to yank me outside. Come on, we have to go to the hospital right now. I didn't move. I just stared at her calmly. Why? Your roommate Stacy's sick. She needs money bad. The hospital called you and you didn't answer, so they called me. She needs tens of thousands for surgery. Hurry up and figure out how to pay for it. I don't have any money, I said evenly. I'm just a new grad intern. I've got $300 in my bank account, and that has to last me until payday on the 15th. How exactly am I supposed to pay for her surgery? Excuse me? Is Stacy's life not worth anything to you? Yeah, you don't have cash, but you can take out loans, borrow money. She's your roommate, not some random stranger. I looked at her and smiled, cold and sharp. So you admit we're just roommates? We're basically strangers who live next to each other. Why on earth would I risk my credit to take out loans for her? If she pays me back, fine, but if she doesn't, are you gonna cover the debt for me? I'll ask you one thing, if Stacy never pays this money back, will you step in and pay it for her? If you sign something saying you will, I'll go borrow the money with you right now. Tracy frowned. What does that have to do with me? Stacy said you're the person to go to if anything happens. She picked you as her roommate because she trusts you. You owe her this. Owe her? Owe her what? I scoffed. My relationship with Stacy is exactly the same as my relationship with you. Paper thin. One wrong move and it tears. I'd learned that lesson the hard way. Dying had taught me not to stick my neck out for people who didn't deserve it. Some people never show their true colors until something goes wrong, and then they're the first to throw you under the bus. Tracy was exactly that kind of person. "How can you be so cold," she said, "self-righteous as ever? Have you got no heart at all?" "I've got a heart. I just don't have a death wish, and I don't have lifelong best friend levels of loyalty to her." "You want me to throw my life away to be the hero? Why don't you take out the loans? You be the saint." Tracy's eyes went wide, all innocent hurt. "My credit's already ruined from overspending. If I had money, if I could help Stacy, I would. I'm not like you, so obsessed with money. Stacy trusted you to be her roommate. How can you do this to her?" I laughed instead of getting angry. "So that's your excuse? You think I'm stupid enough to ruin my credit for some girl I barely know? But she needs you." Tracy raised her voice, leaning into the moral high ground act. "Are you really just gonna let her die? If she dies, it'll be your fault." "She doesn't need me," I said. "She needs my credit score so she can take out loans." "Why would I let her use mine?" "Because she's your roommate." When she realized she couldn't bully me into it, she switched to begging. "Please, just come to the hospital with me and see her. I know once you see how sick she is, you won't be able to just stand by." I looked her dead in the eye and said, slow and clear, "You are so full of it. You won't do it yourself, but you'll beg me to do it. Fine. I'll go to the hospital with you. But we're doing this my way first. Instead of begging a broke college student for money, why don't we call the university? Call her boss at work? They've got more resources, more experience. They can help her way more than we can." Tracy froze. She clearly hadn't thought of that. She fumbled for her phone and called Stacy's academic advisor. When Mr. Henderson, the student affairs advisor, heard what was going on, he told us to stay calm right away. He said the university's student health and accident plan still covered all seniors during their internships, even if the accident happened off campus. "First, we make sure the policy is active. Hold on to all of Stacy's paperwork, medical records, diagnosis, receipts, test results, a statement of what happened. If she has her own insurance, file that first, then file through the student plan. The coverage will be better that way." "Mr. Henderson," I said, taking the phone from Tracy, "Stacy needs surgery right now, and they're asking for payment up front. Can the university vouch for her? Can we do a hospital admit first, pay later arrangement?" There was a pause on the other end. Tracy stared at me, shocked, like it had never occurred to her that was an option. I wasn't making it up. In my last life, I'd scrolled through hundreds of comments on those hate posts, and dozens of people had laid out exactly what I should have done. I'd replayed every single alternative in my head 100 times. Back then, I'd been so naive, so focused on saving her that I'd never stopped to think there was another way to help her, one that didn't ruin my life. This time, I swore I wouldn't spend a single dollar of my own money. That didn't mean I'd stand by and let her die. It meant I'd protect myself first, then help from a safe distance. I took a breath and kept going. "Sir, when the hospital first called asking for tens of thousands, I thought it was a scam and hung up. My neighbor Tracy came and told me it was real. I'm just an intern, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. I thought of you. Can you contact the insurance company and get them to pre-approve coverage for her surgery? Also, Stacy was on need-based financial aid at school. Is there a student emergency hardship grant she can apply for?" "Yes, there is," Mr. Henderson said. "I'm impressed you thought of all that. You two are adults now, out in the working world. The first lesson you learn is to take care of yourself before you take care of anyone else. I'll have someone from the school reach out to the hospital directly. Send me the hospital's contact info. And whatever you do, do not pay anything up front. You can't help everyone, and you shouldn't ruin yourself trying." I hung up. Tracy didn't thank me. Instead, she found another way to blame me. Why didn't you say all that earlier? You made me beg you, made us fight, before you'd help. Oh, I get it, you were gonna drag your feet on purpose, let Stacy get worse, weren't you? I stared at her, deadpan. Imagining problems is a medical condition. Go see a doctor if it's that bad. Stop bothering me. If you don't need me at the hospital anymore, I'm going back inside to lay down. I turned to leave. Tracy grabbed my arm to stop me. Wait, fine. It's a good plan, okay? You were just being so cold before, I couldn't handle it. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. Calm down. Anger gets you nowhere. I needed to handle this with a clear head. When I opened my eyes again, my voice was steady. Tracy, have you ever stopped to think about this? We're over here stressing about saving her life, but if we do save her, how long do you think it'll take her to pay all this back on her salary? Do you think she'll be grateful? Or do you think she'll turn on us? Do you even know her? Do you think a new grad actually wants to be stuck with this much debt? Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Stacy's not like that. She's a good person. We're from the same town, people there are honest, down to earth. In my last life, I'd thought Stacy was a good person too. Thrifty, hardworking, reliable. I'd thought she was a nice girl. But when the debt landed on me, and I'd gone to ask for my money back, she'd turned on me in a second. Sweet to my face, but behind my back, she'd gone online begging for sympathy and blaming me for saving her. I don't have any money, she'd said. I'm poor. My parents scrimped and saved their whole lives to send me to school. How am I supposed to pay you back? And the trolls online had echoed her, whoever took out the loan pays it back. You wanted to play hero and save her life, why can't you see it through? You wanted the glory and the money back? Life doesn't work that way. You're just bullying a poor girl 'cause you can. What could I say? I'd tried to tell my side of the story, but one voice can't drown out thousands of angry strangers. It just eats you up inside. People online only believe what they want to believe. How many of them actually cared about the truth? I'd tried to be the good guy. I'd tried to prove I was right. I'd burned myself out trying to make them see. And in the end, everyone had believed sick, vulnerable Stacy. No one had cared if I lived or died. They'd all called me a bully, picking on someone weaker than me. This time, I only cared about protecting myself. No more playing the do-gooder. 30 minutes later, we arrived at the hospital. Stacy's advisor, other university staff, and her work manager were all there, huddled together figuring out how to get her surgery approved. Mr. Henderson saw me and said, "The hospital's taking her in for surgery now." They agreed to fast-track her through the emergency care pathway. The university and her company are co-signing to guarantee payment. I glanced over at Stacy's manager, surprised. Mr. Henderson explained, "We keep alumni records for all our graduates. Her manager's a former student of ours, really successful. When he heard one of his interns was in trouble, he took it very seriously. We still can't get a hold of Stacy's parents, though. Do either of you have another number for them?" I immediately pulled Tracy forward. "Sir, Tracy's from the same town as Stacy. They're even related, same last name." Tracy went pale and stammered, I have the township clerk's number back home. They can go find her parents in person. But, her parents are kind of a handful. They might cause trouble when they get here." Mr. Henderson frowned at her. "That's an awful thing to say about someone's family. We don't just let people die because their family might be difficult. This is what the university and her workplace are here for. We step up when students need help, no matter who they are. After insurance, her out-of-pocket cost will be under $3,000. I refuse to believe she and her parents can't come up with that. We don't send our top university graduates out into the world unable to earn $3,000 a year." His words hit me like a wave. In my last life, I'd paid $138,000 out of my own pocket for Stacy's surgery. She'd never told me anything about insurance. She'd never given me a single receipt. The whole time, I'd just been her personal ATM, called when she needed money, forgotten when she didn't. This time, I watched as Mr. Henderson created a group chat for everyone involved. The name was plain and simple, Stacy Miller Surgery Update Group. In my last life, I'd never been in that chat. I'd had no idea how many steps there were to the insurance process. I'd missed so much crucial information. This time, I saw every single part of it. The chat was full of people, Stacy's advisor, Tracy, Stacy's manager and coworkers, even our landlord. The first message was from Mr. Henderson. Stacy's surgery is covered by a joint guarantee from the university and her employer. The hospital will proceed with surgery first, and insurance will cover the majority of costs. Any additional expenses can be posted here for records. Only a small portion will be the patient's personal responsibility. I stared at that message for a long time. If I'd seen that in my last life, none of it would have happened. I'd had no idea the school and her company had done so much to help her. She'd lied to me. She'd played me for a fool the entire time. When Stacy woken up after surgery in my last life, she'd cried and said, "Thank you for saving my life. I'll pay you back, I promise. I'll make it up to you." Her idea of making it up to me had been getting me killed. This time, everything was different. I hadn't paid a cent. In the group chat, Mr. Henderson posted the 911 ambulance bill. He said he'd called Stacy's parents over and over and couldn't get through. He'd even contacted the local police precinct and community services office to track them down. When they finally showed up, they immediately started causing a scene. "Our daughter got hurt out in the world, whoever saved her can pay for it. This ain't our problem. We don't have any money. You want money? Take our lives then. Go on, take 'em." They put on this whole act of being unreasonable small-town people, like there was nothing anyone could do to them. I thought back to my last life. When Stacy's parents found out I'd paid all that money, they hadn't thanked me. First thing they'd done was slap me across the face, then hit me with the moral blackmail. If you've got $138,000 to throw around, you're clearly not hurting for money. Why are you picking on a poor family like us? You just wanted to look like a hero, right? Fine, we'll let you be the hero. Heroes don't get paid back, do they? At the end of the day, they were just shameless. Back then, I'd been red-eyed and shaking from the debt collector calls. I hadn't wanted to pay. I hadn't set out to be a hero. Everyone around me had been screaming that Stacy would die if I didn't pay right now. They'd all pushed me to spend the money, then turned around and acted like I'd had it all along. I'd been alone. No one had understood how trapped I'd felt. Because I had no proof. This time, I'd done nothing wrong. And there was proof everywhere. I wanted to see how Stacy's parents weaseled their way out of paying this time. If they refused, the university could hold Stacy's diploma. Her company could fire her. There was no way they'd be stupid enough to throw all that away, or so I'd thought. I'd overestimated their intelligence. The second they showed up, they started causing chaos. Before even going to see Stacy in pre-op, they started yelling oblique insults at everyone in the hallway. Who dragged us all the way out here? We spent $300 on bus fare. Who's gonna pay us back for that? Mr. Henderson's jaw tightened when he heard them. You must be Stacy's parents. That's us, Stacy's dad said, putting on his best humble small-town guy act. And you are, sir? I'm Stacy's student affairs advisor. She had a medical emergency during her internship. The university and her company stepped in to guarantee payment so she could have surgery right away. Now we need to go over next steps with you. Which one of you would prefer to handle the paperwork? Paperwork? Stacy's dad's face hardened. He put on his "we're broke" routine. Our daughter's always been healthy. How'd this just happen out of nowhere? Did someone do this to her? People back home don't get sick like this. If it's not life-threatening, we can just use home folk remedies, same as we always have. Who told you to rush her to the hospital and run up all these bills? We've got other kids to take care of, you know. 3 more at home. If we spend all our money on Stacy, what are the rest of 'em supposed to live on? Mr. Henderson frowned deeper. I'd seen this before. In my last life, Stacy's dad had been even worse. He'd pulled out his phone and showed me photos of his 3 younger kids, all wide-eyed and needy. He'd said they had no money, only their lives to give. Back then, I'd wondered how one good deed could go so wrong. Now, standing back and watching, I could see right through their act. Stacy's parents picked their targets. Back then, I was just some girl on her own, easy to push around. Now that it was a university advisor in front of them, they tried the pity act instead. Their little tricks didn't work on grown-ups who dealt with this stuff every day. They just looked like deadbeats. Mr. Henderson said, if you refuse to cover the remaining costs, it could affect your daughter's ability to graduate and get her internship reference. She was found collapsed on the street, and 911 brought her in. This is a serious condition, not some minor ache. I get that you don't know much about medicine, so I'll be clear, the university and her company have gone above and beyond to help her. After insurance and the student health plan, she'll owe less than $3,000. Don't hide behind being poor. That's not an excuse. But we don't make that much in a whole year. Stacy's dad blurted out, defaulting to the Poverty Act. Then Stacy can pay it, Mr. Henderson said flatly. She's an adult. She can work and earn money. She's not a student forever. But her money has to go back home to her brother and sisters. Stacy's dad clamped a hand over his mouth the second he said it, but it was too late. Everyone was staring at him. And I was the one to say the quiet part out loud. So you do have money. You just don't want to spend it on her. You thought the university and the company would foot the whole bill, and you'd get your daughter fixed for free. How nice for you. Your money's real important, but everyone else's money just grows on trees, is that it? Mr. Henderson was clearly furious too. He'd thought he was doing a good deed, only to be met with this kind of greed. His voice went cold. If you're not going to take this seriously, then you can handle the rest of this on your own. He walked away, making it clear this was now their problem, not his. I followed right behind him. Tracy grabbed my arm from behind. Wait, Stacy's your roommate. If you leave too, what are we supposed to do? Stacy's parents perked up like vultures catching a scent. That's right. You can't all just leave. Someone has to stay and take care of our daughter. They both latched onto my legs, clinging on. You're her roommate. It's your job to look out for her. You should have been there the second it happened. I smiled. With all respect, sir, ma'am, you're being ridiculous. As her roommate, coming to the hospital to check on her is fine. I've done that. What more do you want from me? Blocking me from leaving? What, are you gonna try something in broad daylight? I'd seen the look in their eyes, mean, angry, vicious. I'd felt their hands on me before. In my last life, I'd gone to Stacy's place deep in debt, and they'd stood between me and her, yelling insults. Why'd you save her if you're just gonna hound her for money, they'd said. If you're gonna be a hero all the way. Why do you have to be so cruel? Was I supposed to be some kind of saint? Saints save everyone. I couldn't even save myself. I'd had nothing left to give. They'd cut up clips of me demanding my money back and posted them online, ruining my reputation, getting me fired. They'd broken me until I was depressed and desperate, then kept sucking everything they could out of me. How could I not hate them? How could I be nice to them after everything? The fact that I was standing there talking to them calmly at all was already more than they deserved. So I ignored their begging. I pried their rough, grubby hands off my legs one by one, and walked straight after Mr. Henderson. Once we were outside the hospital, I thanked him. "You did the right thing," he said. "You didn't do anything wrong. Remember, you take care of yourself first, then you help other people. Stacy's surgery is done. Now we just wait for her to recover." I knew he was trying to be kind, but I couldn't help but ask, what if she blames us? What if she says we trapped her in all these medical bills? Mr. Henderson looked at me, steady and sure. "You do the right thing because it's the right thing. We saved a life. Is there anything wrong with that?" "No. There isn't. If Stacy reacts the way you're worried about, that's on her. It's terrible, but saving a life is still the right choice. You don't stop being a good person just because one bad person takes advantage of you. You don't let them make you doubt yourself." What was our goal, at the start? To make sure she lived, I said, the words coming out before I thought about it. The second I said it, I froze. Tears started running down my face, unplanned. I didn't know if I was crying for the last life, for all the unfairness, all the pain, all the things no one ever apologized for. But I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. I'd tried to help someone with an open heart. I shouldn't have to doubt that. Stacy and her family were the ones in the wrong. They were the ones who should be sorry. I didn't feel sad anymore. Once it clicked, I didn't go back to the apartment. I got a hotel room for the night. I wanted to start over. First, I had to change how I saw things. I decided to cut Stacy out of my life entirely and find a new place to live. I looked at listings online and got lucky, found a one-bedroom apartment really close to work, $800 a month. I called a moving company that same day, and 3 days later, I was all moved in. Stacy didn't leave me alone once she woke up, though. She started calling me non-stop. I'd already blocked her number, sent it straight to voicemail. When she couldn't reach me, she sent her parents to the old apartment. But there was nothing left of me there. She started panicking. She tried to get the landlord to give her my new address, but I'd already talked to him. I'd told him we didn't get along and I'd moved out, and he'd agreed not to tell her where I'd gone. Stacy got more and more desperate, especially when the hospital started sending her family bills. That's when she decided to go online and play the victim again. She twisted everything Tracy had told her, edited the story to make me look like I'd left her to die, and posted it online. I watched her video. Stacy was still pale, still weak-looking, crying into the camera. "Please, someone help me. I'm a senior in college, interning out here, and I had a sudden medical emergency. The hospital called my roommate, and she refused to help. She made the school and my work pay for everything, then blocked me. I thought we were friends, but she won't even talk to me. Can anyone help me get in touch with her? Her name's Claire Bennett. She interns at, company name. I don't want to fight. I just need a friend right now. I'm going through so much." I watched it, my stomach heavy. She was begging people for donations. Begging them to help her find me. What kind of friend does that? What kind of friend posts your full name and where you work online for strangers to find? That's not what friends do. That's what enemies do. She was digging her own grave. I didn't even have to do anything. She'd ruin herself soon enough. I immediately sent the video to Mr. Henderson, and to an upper-year law student I knew who was interning at a firm. Mr. Henderson called me first, sounding shocked. "What is Stacy thinking? I just got off the phone with the hospital. Her total out-of-pocket bill is $2,200. Why is she online begging for $10,000 in donations? And why is she dragging her old roommate into this?" I laughed, bitter. "Trust me, sir, I don't know what kind of stunt she's trying to pull either. But she posted my full name and where I work online. It's causing me real problems. I talked to a law student friend, and she said what Stacy's doing is illegal. Doxing someone's a crime. She could get in real trouble for this. I was hoping you could talk to her, as her advisor. Warn her to stop before I have to take legal action. I'm giving her one chance. She'd better wise up. I hung up and sent the law student all the evidence, call recordings, screenshots of Stacy's videos, everything. Evidence is solid, she texted back. We can file suit whenever you want. My gaze hardened. Let's do it. Let's show everyone who she really is. Hold on, she said. I know you want this over with, but the more money she raises from donations, the worse her charges will be. Greed always catches up to people. Let her dig herself deeper. I smiled. Fine. She can have a few more days. Stacy had been obsessed with seeing me ever since she woke up. Something in her head kept telling her this wasn't how things were supposed to go. She asked her parents why they looked so stressed. We don't know where we're gonna get the money for all these hospital bills, they said. It's your roommate's fault. She called the school and your work, made us actually have to pay for this. You said she was nice, why wouldn't she even stay when we begged her? Tracy jumped in, pouring fuel on the fire. Seriously, Stacy. When I went to get Claire to help you, she was so cold. Said she didn't have money, said she'd just let you die. People like that deserve to get dragged online. Everyone should know she leaves her friends to die. Why does she get to have a good life when you're suffering? You should post about what she did. Once everyone's mad at her, she'll come crawling back to save her reputation. Maybe she'll even pay you off to make it stop. Then you won't have to worry about money. And hey, people online are really generous. Ask for donations. Ask for more than you need.